Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of Yogi Dave's Hobby Podcast, the podcast where I talk about everything from tabletop RPGs to board games to wargaming on the tabletop to everything that encompasses the hobbies. So this is, what is this, the 6th of March episode, not 6th of March, 6th of May episode. I will have recorded this a little ahead of time. Because I will be actually on the way home from Arran today, so I won't have time to record the podcast, to be honest. And I thought about, I'll release it on the Tuesday, but then I thought, well, I'm releasing YouTube on the Tuesday, so maybe not. But first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, the last couple of episodes you probably heard me talking about Falkirk Wargame Show, Carronade, which is on, well, it'll be this Saturday coming. This Saturday actually. It'll be the 11th of May. So the show will have many a trader, many a participation game, many a display game from clubs all around, clubs and place shops and what have you, all around Scotland and the United Kingdom. Not they'll be maybe united for maybe much longer, but never mind. That I actually would like that, but never mind. Again, let's not go politics into things. So, as I said, on multiple occasions, I will be there. I will be doing the Glasgow District Wargame Society's show. Display game, participation game. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's a cut down version of Bolt Action that you'll be playing as the Italians attacking a Serbian ammo dump and fuel dump. So, as I said, there'll be many a trader. You'll have Warlord, you'll have Sarissa, you'll have Caliver Books, you'll have various other important traders at the show, and there will be a flea market up on top floor. I think it's the top floor, but there'll be signs to wherever it is, and various people will be doing stalls at the flea market to sell their stuff. I've done it before. I got a lot of bits sold, but not a huge amount. I went home with quite a bit actually. But that's beside the point entirely. There probably will be a few bargains there. If you are an RPGer or you are a board gamer, there will be stuff for you. There's always stuff for anyone involved in gaming whatsoever at the show. Also, Common Ground Games will be there. Common Ground Games, the place up in Stirling where you can actually go and play games in the shop. It's mostly a gaming centre. It's got a nice shop, but it's mostly a gaming centre. That's it for the plug for today. Obviously, the next episode you won't be hearing a plug, but for this anyway. If you come, say hello. I will be there, and we're going to talk some gaming stuff. I am trying to organise some interviews over the next couple of weeks to try and get, obviously, some more people in the hobby interviewed for the show, and we'll take things as we go, as we get them. So let's get on with the show. Right. So what I'm going to talk about is a little bit more about Hamancharon, the Legends of Hamancharon, and actually why I'm doing this. And I hope it encourages other people to try their own hand at various bits and pieces gaming wise, if that is something they want to do. So originally, like way back in the day, I wanted to do my own RPG, and also I tried my hand at making my own war games and stuff. I never actually ever got out the design stage for any of them, because I didn't really have that many people that I was friends with that I thought or they'll be quite good at helping me out to do this. Most of the people I RPG'd with, it was all just about the RPG. They didn't, they weren't really into the whole build it yourself kind of thing. They just wanted to be able to sit and play. Sorry if there's a bit of water lapping in the background. That'll be Zach drinking his water. But yeah, as I was saying, nobody really wanted to, get involved in building their own game. And that was the same for the war games as well. Nobody really seemed to be wanting to be involved in it, doing anything other than playing the games or, painting the figures or whatever. Anyway, so this has been kind of a dream thing for me to do for the last, 20, 25 years. But the thing that really spurred it on was, as you probably know, I started doing Twitch with D&D, with the new gaming group that I put together. And obviously, you're streaming a game, and then Article 13 comes out. Now, Article 13, if you don't know, is a European law that will govern basically copyright on the internet. That's an oversimplification of it, but basically it puts the onus on anyone who streams, the providers of streaming platforms or video platforms, to ensure that there's no copyright breaches with any of their stuff. So obviously, if you're playing D&D and, Wizard of the Coast decide, you're not what we're kind of looking for with streamers of our game. And I'm not saying Wizard of the Coast will do that, but obviously people like me who swear a lot, and I'm not afraid to voice my opinion whether or not I enjoy a thing or not. Maybe they don't want that voice playing their game. So I thought to myself, do you know what? The best thing to do what you always wanted to do, and build your own game. Use your own set of rules. Build it from this. So essentially, I sat down, I decided how would I like to change things, how would I like to make things different, and I enlisted eventually, not even that long after deciding that I was going to do it, I enlisted the help of a couple of my friends, because one of them, Sam, is good at really dissecting a set of rules and finding the issues with the set of rules, which, is quite good when you're doing something like this, because, he's going to find the holes. I mean, he's not going to find all the holes, but, that's why you playtest a set of rules. And then there's Alistair, who I brought on because, or I wanted to bring on because he's really good with analysing stuff. Also, he's going to be brilliant for doing database and the online tools, which, he was the one with the idea in the first place. He was like, I've got an idea for a character sheet. And then talked to us about it, and it's like, that's a pretty good idea. And then Barry I brought on because, Barry's very good at the lore side of things, putting these kind of things together. So, but also get Barry is, a good guy, and, as a player, he's always enthusiastic about what he's doing. So, that's what you kind of want. It wasn't any particular, thing other than being Barry, basically. The reason that I wanted to bring him on. And what I've decided now is basically the four of us, will be sharing a company when we put the company together. And I told them that, and they're like, well, we thought we'd just help you out. And it's like, well, I've decided that, when it goes commercial, then it's going to be four of us together doing users helping as much as anyone is it going to help, and users sharing. So rather than credit sharing, why not just the four of us start our own company eventually, and we'll get things going, and we'll do everything ourselves. Self-publish and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But that stuff is obviously a couple of years at least down a year at least down the line before we have to even start looking at that kind of thing. But I am looking big picture, because sometimes I do not look big picture, but sometimes I look way big picture. And on this, it's something I need to do. It's not just something I want to do. Something I need to do. Something I need to get out. And I need to publish. So, that's how it's becoming what it is. I said to talk a little bit about the actual rule set and other episodes. So the difference between this set of rules and basically other sets of rules is with Fate. So I'm calling it the Fate deck just now, but there are going to be probably better names for it in the future. Basically, excuse me. With the Fate deck, each character has a set number of Fate points. Now, every character starts with at least 2, maybe 3 or 4, and they can have a maximum of 10. And there's the Fate deck, so it's a deck of cards. They've got a Red Joker, Black Joker. Well, the Red Joker's called the Lord of the Celestium, and the Black Joker is the Lord of Tyranny. So these are 2 different. Our plan is, when we actually release the rules, to have a set of cards that are like our own cards. So each card, you can buy a set of playing cards and use them. So Red Joker is Hanron, the Lord of the Celestium, so he's the leader of the good wizards, the good gods. And then Jalador is the Lord of Tyranny, or the Lord of the Underworld, who is the leader of the dark gods, or the evil gods. And basically, each card and each suit will be one of the gods. I know that's quite a few pictures that are going to have to get done for us, but it'll be worth it when we eventually release it. But essentially, with the Fate deck, is you have a dice roll that you fail, but it's really important that you pass it. So it could be, a really important plot point, or what you think might be a really important plot point that you've got to get through, but you've got no way getting through it unless you use this Fate point, because it's too hard for you to do it with the dice. So you flip a card and you determine. You say, okay, so it's not an impossible, but a near impossible attempt. So you draw a card, and this card has to be. You say, right, so it needs to be. You're a light character, so there's a good guy. And the order of precedence at the moment would be Hearts, Diamonds, Clubs, Spades. Now, for an easy skill check that you need to pass, but your dice rolling have been terrible, you, or an intermediate. So easy and intermediate, you can choose a colour or which card. With difficult and regular tests, it has to be a red, a joker, a heart, or a diamond suit card. You have to say it'll be this one or this one. So you choose the colour or you choose a suit. But with difficult tests or near impossible tests, it has to be one half of the hearts. So if you draw that card and you go Red Joker, yes, awesome. You've got the Red Joker, which means your Fate points being refunded, and it's a critical pass. That's awesome. If you pull a Black Joker, this is because you're a good character. That fails, critical fail, and then you lose an extra Fate point. But if you pass by pulling whatever half of the heart suit that you decide you want to go. You pass. And you don't get the critical pass, but you get the pass. And that's great. Yes, we've got through that plot point. It'll be the same for combat. Letting a post test. Highest card between you and the GM wins. If you're a player character or the light, and you or the GM pull the red joker, which is the High King, it scores a critical pass and the fate point is refunded. If you or the GM pull the Lord of Tyranny, it causes a critical fail and a second point fate point is lost. Now you don't really want critical fails because critical fails are bad. The thing is, this is now reversed if you're a dark character or if you're a neutral character that decides, oh, for this session I'm going to favour the dark or the light. It depends on neutral characters can either favour one side or the other in a session, but one of the things with it is you can't favour it too much, or after a certain number of sessions then you can start falling or start going to the light. And if you're a cleric of a particular god, that's not good. That's not a good thing. So that's a very simple explanation of that particular mechanic in the game. I think it will probably be better explained when you actually read the explanation. But I like to talk about these things. Also, with the skill tests. Skill tests are something I was going to talk about because they're a little different. Skills. So essentially, skill checks are on a certain number of d20s. So you have to score at least one success. When you do a simple test, you do it with 5 d20s, you plus 3 on your skill check. Intermediate with 4 d20s at your skill check, with 3 d20 at hard, at a -3. Extremely difficult, you roll 2 d20 at a 6. And almost impossible, you roll a single d20 at a -9. You can supplement these dice with dice from the dice pool. So a certain amount of passes over and above the one you need can give you extra dice into a group pool point, or pool, group dice pool. And you can say, right, well, I'm going to take this dice from this dice pool, and if you really need to pass this test, and you don't want to use a fate point, and you've got a dice pool of maybe 3 or 4 extra dice. You say, I'll take 2 of these dice, and you roll the dice. So if it's an almost impossible, you've got those three dice to get your skill test. -9. Skill tests, always on a 1 or a 2 they pass, always on a 19 or a 20 they fail. It gives you a little leeway, but also your bonuses and negatives can bring you below or above that, but the actual roll will never stop, be never less than a 2 and more than an 18. But obviously that'll be explained a wee bit better as and when we go on with the game. So with it, with the skills, you've also got talents. So talents are things that you're capable of doing through your training and knowledge and proficiency. So the likes of weapon talents. So weapon talents there's the overarching weapon talents. So, you've got your unarmed attacks, you've got light-bladed weapons, medium-bladed weapons, heavy-bladed weapons, you've got hafted weapons, you've got handled weapons, you've got martial arts weapons, you've got exotic weapons. Yes, I do know that's like, what do you call it? D&D, but that's beside the point. There's racial weapons, there's ballistic weapons, and a couple of different classes. So your simple ballistic weapons, light firearms, which are gunslinger or iron belcher only. I'm deciding on the name on that yet. You get your light martial ballistic weapons, and you get light exotic. You get martial ballistic weapons and exotic ballistic weapons. But on top of that, you've got armor talents. You've got weapon training talents. You've got weapon focuses. You've got spell focuses. You've got all these different type of talents and focuses that can help you in your fighting or in your magic or in various other things like knowledge and not entirely like feats, but not entirely unlike feats. And obviously above that, you get your spells. So spells are a little different from various other sets of rules in that you've obviously got your magical bolt, wall, ball, explosion wave, all these kinds of things, but with them what you can do is imbue a magical focus upon your elemental bolt. So, or not elemental, well, you make a magical bolt into an elemental bolt, or so you can use firebolt or electricity bolt or air bolt or whatever. But you can also add if you're a necromancer, you can add ectoplasmic energy to a ball or an explosion or a wave or whatever it is. And also with all magical, all spells, then you have to have a number of points in each spell, which means you can. This is how many dice you need to roll this is how many dice you can roll to pass a spell test. So to cast a spell, but these, the spells can't actually be upgraded with dice, except if you have a focus or a focus from your talents. I'm not going to continually talk about the set rules, obviously, because it's probably counterintuitive sometimes to spend too much time talking about it. But obviously this podcast and the last podcast, I've been spending a bit of time looking at them, and thought, well, I'll talk about them now because I don't really have that much to talk about right now, because obviously I am doing two in a very short space of time. So yeah, hold on, 2 seconds, I'll be back. I know I'm talking still about this set of rules, but the thing I want to talk about is, in addition to this, is online tools. So we're building online tools to go with the set of rules, and we're doing it as we're building the game, which, discussing it, I think it's actually quite important. I think the problem with a lot of online set of rules, online tools and generators and everything, they're built after the fact, so it's not built as in when you're building it. So it's all after the fact. It's not thinking about, well, this goes with this goes with that. So you're having to go back and do it all at the same time, as trying to develop other things. So the idea behind us doing this is everything's going on databases. All the weapons, armor, spells, character races, all the things that help you build the character. And then we'll put monsters and how to build your own monsters and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Building NPCs, building your own dungeons. Excuse me. But building all this stuff to help us, as much as it's going to help any player that plays it, it's going to help us. But my plan is to not only have it running online, but making it available for you to use offline eventually. Obviously, because we're working it through databases, I'm hoping that we can get it programmed as well, so that we can release an offline version. I'm going to talk to the guys about that next week. We're going to sit down next Monday, do some board gaming, and talk about the game, and how we're progressing with it, and what things are happening. And obviously, having an online character sheet is going to be a wee bit different for this one, because obviously part of your character sheet is the cards. So actually having an online version of the cards that you can go, right, okay, so for this particular game, I've got this card, this card, this card, this card, this card, so I know which ones to take out my deck, or the communal deck, so it's there in front of me. And this will also help for doing online gaming, like online for like the likes of Roll D20, so everyone's got everything in front of them. You don't need bits of paper or links to different character sheets or all the rest of that kind of stuff. It'll be there anytime you want to play it. Also, if we can do something like this offline, it'll be quite helpful as well, because I know a lot of people are not big fans of the online tools that you get with various games, purely because if your internet goes down and everything, then you're a bit fucked. That's the truth. If your internet goes down, or your mobile internet goes down, anything, and you're meant to be playing a game, you're a bit fucked. But this is my idea, that it's not only available online, you'll have the availability to have it offline as well. But the thing is, we need people's feedback with it as well. What people would be looking for and that kind of thing. And on top of me talking about all this kind of stuff, I honestly think that if you try to encourage people that if they want to do something like this, they should do it. You shouldn't wait 20 years and find the right people to do it, to help you out with it. You should go out there and look for the right people. I know I'm saying this now, that it's much easier to go find people, thanks to Twitter and Facebook and all these different social media platforms. That was completely different from when I was growing up. And I've only been on Facebook for about 10 years, so maybe less than that. It's probably less than that. It's probably well less than that. But I've not been on Facebook the whole time. I've been on Twitter for fucking 5 months, I think. Maybe 6. It's maybe 6 months since I went on Twitter. I doubt it, actually. I think it was in November. But I've not been on Twitter that long, but I'm sailing up. I've got almost 600 followers. Granted, I only had almost 500 last week, but that's beside the point entirely. I've gone almost 100 odd followers in the space of a week. It's weird, but excuse me. Sorry, I had to stop Zach from being a pain in the arse. As I was saying, it's taken me a long time to get on Twitter. And actually bring all these things together. I didn't join Twitter for anything other than, there was the networking side of things that was important. I think when you start doing stuff like podcasts or YouTube channels or the rest of that kind of stuff, it was far behind me starting the YouTube channel, but it was around about the same time I was starting or the idea for the podcast was starting. But that's the thing. It was all about the network and building a network and interacting with people and talking with people and finding out different things. That's an important thing for anyone that's going to be doing something like this. I found a few people that are in the same boat as me. They're way ahead of me at the moment, but they're doing their thing. I'm doing my thing, and somebody might think, well, why would you? I retweet stuff these people do all the time, but people would be like, why are you retweeting them? Are they not a competitor? It's like, well, technically, aye, but I don't give a shit. We want to encourage as many people to write their own RPGs, write their own games, write their own anything related to gaming, because the more people, the better. The more voices, the better. You don't want just the likes of Wizards of the Coast. I know Modifius aren't a big, massive company, but they're a big enough company. Green and Ronin were one. I don't know if Mongoose are still there. Don't know if all these companies are still here, but you don't want like single massive entities. And I know they're not all massive entities, but they're big enough that there are multiple people involved in them, like writing various sets of rules and stuff. But the thing is, you want a lot of voices, and you want a lot of diverse voices, which is the thing that self-publishing RPGs are important for. Different voices from different places, different genders, different colours, different everything. That it's important to have that voice somewhere, shouting out. There is the Swordsfall RPG setting that has just been funded on Kickstarter. It's an Afropunk sci-fi world brimming with ancient magic and future tech. That's the line. It's by a guy called Brandon Dixon in America. Obviously, Brandon Dixon he's an author and creator of Swordfall, an Afropunk fantasy setting. I have got him on Kickstarter, not Kickstarter, on Twitter. I never managed to get the Kickstarter, but it's something that I'm going to be picking up when it goes for release. And whenever it gets released for like retail. So that it's a major African American voice that very rarely gets heard. That's important. There's a couple of different other sets of rules that are coming out now, round about now, that are different from anything that's ever been released before. Because I'm a white guy. I don't have that much of a diverse voice. But that's the same for pretty much the vast majority of RPGs. But as I said, the Kickstarter thing, self-publishing, it has got to the point where people are standing up and saying, well, this is my story. This is what my story looks like. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a massive fan of that. I'll be buying it. Just because, it's like, well, you got to support these kinds of things. Obviously, if I had the money, I'd have done it already, but, I want to see it. I want to see it build and build and build and build and build. And a lot of people would hear that and go, well, you're writing your own. Completely different setting, completely different set of rules, completely different everything from what he's doing. And I'm quite happy to support. I'm quite happy to support fucking Pazio and Wizard of the Coast, for fuck's sake. And they're exactly the same kind of thing that I'm doing, except a completely different set of rules, completely different setting. you know, at some point I'll be releasing 5th edition sourcebooks and Pathfinder sourcebooks for my set of rules, because it's like, well, why not? It's another stream of revenue, and it's easy enough for me to work back and forth between, because, you know, elves are elves, dwarfs are dwarfs, humans are humans, goblins are goblins, elves are elves, you know. I said elves are elves, but dark elves are dark elves, and goblins are goblins, and orcs with a twist. But, you know, there's a lot of parallels that you can just, you know, you pull apart and you put back together. But I didn't want to just go, alright, I'll do a setting for D&D or a setting for Pathfinder, or, you know, it's like, what's the point when, you know, again, Article 13 could come and bite me in the arse, but I will. I'll go to them, and I'll go to them. Well, I've released this. I'd like to release this and this. Let's make some money together. But as I said, different voices are important. Where am I? I don't even know where I'm going with this sometimes. Keep on getting into trouble from people because I keep on going because I don't know where I'm going sometimes. Sometimes I just sit down and start talking into the mic. And I don't know where I'm going with it. I just sit and talk until I get bored with my own voice, which is often a thing I wanted to talk about with group dynamics with gaming is it's trying to figure out a way of making people understand that you're pissed off with the fact that they don't bother their arse organising their own games and want you to organise every fucking game for them. This is a particular problem I've been having for a while. That, you know, I've got to the point where with certain people I'm like, right, I'm not going to bother organising your game for you, or I'm not going to bother including you in organising the games because you just expect me to do it, and I'm sick and tired of it. But the problem is that you don't want to alienate anyone from your game. You don't want to alienate anyone from a group because they have an issue, a certain issue. And I know I'm not the only one with this particular issue in this group of people. But it's trying to tell somebody tactfully, and I have a problem with my tact. I don't have much. If I've got something to say, I'll fucking well say it. And the way that I talk when I'm on this, when I'm on the YouTube channel, or you hear me talking all the time, I'm fucking blunt. And a lot of the time I can't do subtle. And I can't go, right, well, the thing is, you know, you're not doing it yourself, so, you know, maybe you should think about doing it. It'd be like, listen, man, fucking sick and tired of you fucking around. Go organise your own goddamn games. That is the kind of thing I would say to their face. And you can't do that because it'll start fights. And I don't need fights. I have enough fights dealing with shit at work that I don't need them in my life when I'm outside of work. Got enough potential for fights in work, but you know what I mean. And what I kind of want is people to talk to me about it, because I don't know how I'm gonna get around to this, or get them to understand that, you know, we need you to start doing your own thing. We need you to start talking to people and organising your own thing, because we're sick and fucking tired of doing it for you. Because the subtleness that everyone's been going, well, we're doing this or we're doing that, and there's no space for you, or there's no space for that person, or that, the next thing. It doesn't seem to be fucking sinking in. And I'm trying to find a way of doing it without anything related to me losing my shit at them, because I really don't want to do it. I can see me actually getting in a fist fight with one of them. And I really don't need that. Apart from anything, I could lose my fucking license if that happens. But yeah, I mean, I talk about it because, I've talked about it with other people, but you don't really know how to deal with it unless you've had it in your own group. And that's why I'm putting it out there. It's like, I've never had to deal with this kind of thing before, because everyone seemed to understand that if you haven't organised a game, you don't get a game. In the past, anyway. I think, to be honest, we've coddled them for a little bit too long, and they've got lazy, and they've decided, oh, well, somebody's going to organise it for us anyway, so we might as well, wait around and see what everyone's doing. I mean, this is one of the reasons that I'm not, my intention is not to not include them in the initial playtesting of the rules. I know I say every playtester is a great playtest as another person playing the game, but I don't honestly think that, there will be any help to it. And I mean, that's shitty, and I feel shitty saying it sometimes, but it's like I honestly don't see any merit to including them. But, that's me. What else? Oh, yes. I am going to be playing 40k Munchkin very soon, and I'm looking forward to it. If you haven't played the Munchkin games before, Steve Jackson Games did the original Munchkin, and if you've seen the cards, it's John Kovalic that does the Dock Tower games. He did all the art for the original Munchkin, and I think he did it for the 40k Munchkin and the new Age of Sigmar Munchkin that's coming out as well. Essentially, what it is you have a character, like any RPG. You adventure, you fight monsters, and essentially what you're trying to get is yourself to level 10. And the first person to get to level 10 wins the game. And, you do this by fighting various characters, getting various cards, getting weapons, you getting classes, all these different things that you would do in an RPG, but you're playing against the other guys and the other players that are sitting around the table who are also trying to get to level 10, and you can fuck with each other. They call it messing with each other, but it's highly entertaining because you can mess with each other by adding a monster to a combat or making you less able to fight in a combat, because every piece of equipment gives you plus to your attacks or minus to your enemy's attacks, or all these kinds of things. If you haven't already played them or haven't already had a shot at it, I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend getting the Marvel version. I have Munchkin Marvel and we played it. I did mention it in the last podcast, I think. We played it a couple of weeks ago. Bianca, she won because her particular hero, it was like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. you start with, and rather than a normal adventurer hero, her particular hero became all-powerful, almost invincible. In fact, was pretty much invincible by the end of it. Because the rest of us had been fucking with each other and hadn't actually paid attention to the fact that she was building up this awesome character, and you're like, right, okay, we lost, but it was a good, entertaining game, and I highly recommend anyone going and buying Munchkin, in any version of Munchkin. You always get the base game first, obviously, but one of the guys, Sam, has pretty much all the add-ons for the original Munchkin, and that game can be hilarious to play with a big group of players. What else? My brain is starting to go mush again. Oh yeah, I know I talked about the 40k the other day, about Kyrgios. He was talking about the line coming back, obviously. Lionel Johnson for the Dark Angels Primarch. And I'm actually kind of pissed off that they would bring that fucking arsehole back before they brought either Conrad Kurz, Lemon Russ, Yagtai Khan, any of the actual good Primarchs to bring back, because Lionel Johnson's basically another fucking Gilliman. I don't want another bloody Gilliman. Gilliman's a fucking arsehole as is. But, bit of diversity. Lionel Johnson is a fucking Dark Angel, for God's sake. I can't remember the Salamanders chapter master. He's a perpetual, if I remember rightly. Why not bring him back? That is proper diversity. For fucking 40k. But yeah, I mean, you could have brought Conrad Kurz back. Not Conrad Kurz. Korax. I call Conrad Kurz. I cannot believe I call him Conrad Kurz. Fuck. Corvus Corax. You bring back Corvus Corax, you bring back the Salamanders guy, can't remember his name, you bring back Lemon Rush, you bring back Yagtai Khan. The only character worse to bring back than Lionel Johnson would be Rogaldorn. Because Rogaldorn's an even fucking more boring version of Gilliman, for God's sake. I mean, really? Do we really want Rogaldorn to come back? He's a siege master. So the fuck what? Seriously. It's annoying that they're bringing back Lionel Johnson before they bring back anyone else. Because, apart from Rogaldorn. In fact, Rogaldorn would be the worst one to bring back ever. The fucking fanny. But, I mean, come on, for God's sake. Show a wee bit of fucking backbone or something. Bring back Yagtai Khan. That would be a great thing to rebuild the bloody White Scars, or re-energize the White Scars as a, and bike Space Marines. I know they're trying to pull away from the old type of Space Marines and all the rest, that kind of stuff, but you bring bike mounted fucking Primaris out. Really? It's not that bloody hard. You've been needing a new what do you call it? We've been needing new bikes for Space Marines forever. Since 2nd edition, for God's sake. I've got 2nd edition frickin' bikes. Granted, they're attack bikes, but still 2nd edition bikes. But you can see the mold lines on every single frickin' bike. It's annoying as shit, you know what I mean? You just get so much old stuff that they need to get rid of, that they need to replace, but they aren't doing it. It's driving me fucking nuts. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that thing. whether it's worth anything or not. Because I don't understand it. I really don't understand why they're bringing back the Dark Angels. And if it's to fight a loyalist chapter, what's the point in that? I can understand bringing them back and them fighting the Fallen, right? Okay, that's fair enough. But then it's just Fallen versions of Dark Angels. It's just two types of Dark Angels. So either you're bringing in the Raven Wing and the Death Wing versus the Fallen. So it's rogue Dark Angel figures. So it's you essentially getting a Dark Angel bloody box set. I mean, seriously. And also, the last bloody box set was Space Marines versus Chaos. So what you really need is two different armies for the next one. And I hate the fucking Tau, but I dare I say Tau and, I don't know, something else. Like Imperial Guard. It's not been an Imperial Guard release for a box set yet, if I remember right. So, I don't know, maybe Death Cora Krieg, considering you've removed them from the bloody Forge World catalogue. Why not do, as I said, Tau versus Death Cora Krieg? That's simple. And loads of people will buy the Death Cora Krieg as well. Or, I mean, they might bring it out and do them versus the Sisters of Battle, when they release Sisters of Battle. I don't know. I mean, that would not be a bad one, Tau versus Sisters of Battle. That would be an interesting one, actually. Two completely different sets of troops in full armour, pretty much. You know, that would be an interesting box release, but releasing, I mean, I know it's only a rumour at the moment, but I just think they need to think a wee bit more about what they're doing when they're releasing stuff. And having a wee bit of a, I don't know, forethought about it. Yeah, so that's me. Done my Games Workshop rant. But as I said in the previous episode, I quite enjoy the look of the new, is it Gloom Gits or whatever they are, the new Night Goblin-y kind of Sigmar figures and the Sylvaneth stuff. I think that's an interesting idea. That's what I'm saying. That's an interesting idea for a release for Age of Sigmar, because Night Goblins and Forests, Sylvaneth in the Forests, that works. But it's also interesting. It's going to be an interesting dynamic of a box. Whereas Dark Angels versus a Loyalist chapter, or Dark Angels versus the Fallen. There's not a lot of thought put into that one. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. The release schedule. Like, I mean, Shadowspear. I mean, that was out, less than 2 months before they announced that they were going to be taking it off the fucking shelves. I mean, seriously? That's craziness. Anyway, I think that's me for the day, because I'm starting to get to the ranty stage, the proper ranty stage, and we don't really want that. As I said in the beginning, this Saturday, the 11th of May, is Carronade, the Falkirk District Wargames Club's wargaming show at Graham High School. Starts from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. There will be display games, there will be participation games, there will be traders, there will be a flea market. There'll be painting competitions. I keep on forgetting to add that one. There'll be a painting competition thing throughout the day. It's pretty decent. No, I say pretty decent. It's decent. catering facilities, but the venue as a whole is pretty good, and the show is normally excellent. I think it's like the 13th year or something like that this year, and I enjoy it. I will be there with Glasgow District Wargamers Club, or Wargamers Society's participation game. It'll be Italians versus Serbians. I can't remember the name of the scenario off the top of my head, but if you want to come along, come say hello. And I think that's it for the plug. Obviously, since next Monday, it'll already been. I won't be plugging it. If you want me to plug something of yours, give me a shout. As I've been saying the last couple of episodes, no raffles right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do with them, whether or not to continue them or not. And I think that's it from me today. I'm going to say good day and happy hobby.